Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for having me here. My name is Bharath Rajanna. So basically, I run a startup called as Edupinacle. So I know Vinay sir from quite a long time. So he has asked me to talk about my entrepreneurial journey from, we have our startup is almost 5 years old for now. And we have trained almost 20,000 students, and almost all of the students work in almost all the Fortune 500 companies as of today. So, based on this, so I've been asked to tell about our story. How did we start up? How this all worked, and how things are going and all. So I'm very happy to be here, and hopeful at the end of the session, you have some inputs for takeaway. Okay, so let's start. So let me start our story about how did we start all this. So whenever we come to story, right? So whenever there's a story part, always we have to start from once upon a time, right? So all the stories our grandfathers used to tell, or grandmothers used to tell us from once upon a time. So I'll start with the same tone. So once upon a time, when I was a kid, so basically, when all of us are a kid, we all want to be more of a extrovert kid, where we want to play, where we want to be more of extrovert, talkative, kind of all that, right? So basically, this is what all of us wanted. But I was not this. So I was very shy. I was very, I was very afraid even to talk to strangers. If any new relative comes to home, I was very afraid to talk. So this was the kind of behavior I was in earlier. So and I still remember my school days. It's not like I'm a first generation entrepreneur. So I don't come from a very rich background and all. So my father he works in a police, he's a police constable. So I still remember in my, second and third standard, my father used to, we had Atlas cycle at that time. So whenever I used to get late to school, my father used to go, he used to take me in the cycle to the school so that I don't get late. So he was making sure every day I go, no matter whatever reasons I do. Maybe some days I only was used to get ready late so that I can miss the school. But no, he had the cycle where I used to sit in the front, and he used to drive me all the way 10 kilometers to school every day, so that I don't miss the school, so that I get a good education and all that, right? So why I'm telling this part here is, as parents play a very, very big role in any of entrepreneur's life. So there's kind of a foundation for everybody to get inspired from. So seeing all that, somewhere inspiration comes from parents' side. That's what point which I wanted to add here. So moving on from school days, I was a very shy kid, and the things were all like a typical normal Indian, South Indian shy boy, like a student of kind. So I would like to share a quote, tell a quote. So basically, Abdul Kalam says, great Abdul Kalam says, don't read success stories, you'll only get a message. Read failure stories, you'll get some ideas to get success. Right. So that's a very true word, which I feel. It's a very true word, which I feel. So why I'm telling you this quote is because, so as there's one beautiful thing which happens to everybody in life. There's one beautiful thing which happens to everybody in life. That is called as failure. If any point of time any failure happens, we should not be sad. We should celebrate that failure. Is what I think. Is what I feel. So why I'm saying this line of failure is because my parents wanted me to become an engineer, which most of our parents want, either an engineer, either a doctor. That's what most of our parents want us to become. So my parents wanted me to become an engineer. So basically, you have to be good at science, right? So at that time, things were not. I had 100% attendance. So what I was in my PUC. So in the plus two, I failed miserably. Right? So why I'm telling you this failure is because that was a time of failure which told me, like, that there's a lot of things in life. Okay, you have to be with serious. So that failure taught me a lot, which I failed in second PSC. So I still remember marks of science, physics, chemistry, and mathematics. So physics, 16, 17, and 18. Then I wrote supplementary. I got only 1 marks extra. Then somebody suggested me, why don't you try commerce? Why don't you try commerce field? So if at all you're not able to do science, but the dream was to be an engineer, right? So the first failure was we have to give up that engineering dream of which I wanted to become. Then I started pursuing commerce, right? So why I'm telling you this part here is because failure teaches you a lot. So a lot in the sense, a lot where you get a more learning experience out of your life, which where it will teach you who you are, what you're doing, why you should get serious in life and all that. So whenever in future, if any point of time, if there's any failure, please go back home, celebrate it. That's a very good thing has happened, right? So failure always teaches us some good new lessons, right? So then what happened? Then I joined for commerce in 2008. So basically, it was I flunked in 2008. So I joined for commerce. Means my second PUC was done in 2008. So I joined for my commerce, which I applied privately. So in Government College of Malleshwaram, we used to call it Kal Building, right? So I joined privately, where you don't go to college. Basically, you apply privately, you study at home, and you pass. So at this time of that 1 year where I was studying for this particular course of PUC Commerce, which I was studying, from science directly, from first PU, second PU science, after failing, I directly jumped into second PUC Commerce. Privately, I wanted to write it. So you can imagine, I didn't know what is debit, what is credit, what is a balance sheet, what is a profit and loss account, what is ledger. There was all confusing, right? So this is the point of time which that year of 2008 taught me a lot of things, right? So I was kind of depressed, if at all, that's a correct word, if I can say, at that particular point of time, because all of my friends have passed, all of my friends had got an engineering seat, and all of my friends were my neighbors. So you can imagine, typical Indian guy, what happens at that point of time, right? So what happened? My parents, what they did, to boost my morale or to boost my this one, they got me my first bike. So everybody's parents get their kids a bike after they pass or they do something, but my parents got me after I failed. So okay, fine. That is a good thing, which that they wanted me to motivate me so that I don't get depressed or I don't get sad. Where they wanted their kid to be happy, kind of thing, right? So that time taught me a lot, where I cleared second PC commerce in almost distinction at that point of time. So why I'm telling you this is because that failure taught me in life that education do matters. Until then I was very light. I was thinking like, chalta hai attitude. We all Indians, most of us have this chalta attitude. We'll see tomorrow. We'll see tomorrow. Naale nodkolana. We'll see tomorrow. So, but that doesn't work. That doesn't work in real life, right? So you have to always be competitive. You have to always be upgraded. You have to always. Education is a very important. Education doesn't mean that you can self-learn. You can learn on your own, but the knowledge, the skills you have is very important. That's what I understood in that particular point of time, right? Then how did this entrepreneurship thing came up? How did this entrepreneurship when all happened was, I didn't even knew how to spell entrepreneur, to be very frank. I didn't even knew how to spell. I was telling entrepreneur. So I didn't even know the spelling, or I didn't know how to spell. So after this, I joined my BBA in Ames College. So there's a college called as Ames Institutes in Pune. So I joined my college there for my BBA. So there's the place where I first heard the term called as entrepreneurship. So they used to conduct, there's an organization called as NEN. So I assume that most of you would have been known of that, NEN, National Entrepreneurship Network. So they conduct every year E-Week, Entrepreneurship Week, in the month of February and March. Right. So this is the point of time where I got involved with that particular activity, where I was participating in our college, where I learned a lot of things. So first year we enrolled, first year we only got a consolation prize where we didn't win. Then second year we prepared well. So that's the place where we did almost more than 500 activities in almost 300, 350 plus activities. I only personally participated. I learned a lot of things as entrepreneurs as concerned. So why I'm saying this part of entrepreneur thing is because after this, we even won an award all over India. We were almost first in India for winning for our college the championship trophy in 2012. Right. So why I'm telling this point of time is, as institutions, as lecturers, or somebody is teaching, it's very important so that somebody is thought on, or it's very important for us to understand who's an entrepreneur. Why should you take a risk? What is the benefit? So this is where I learned basically why taking risk is very important, why doing something new is very important, why trying out is important. This is where I learned that actually something called as entrepreneur is there, or else it's always a businessman we used to call. So that's where I learned a term called as entrepreneur by doing this activity. So it's always you make your hands dirty and you learn, right? So that's how I came across this term called as entrepreneur. Then after this, what happened? I joined my MBA. Then in MBA, I saw that there could be something I could have done. So what we did was we started a company called as small startup idea called as EduPrime. So we started a small idea called as EduPrime. So basically, the idea was I was from Bangalore, so I could see the changes which happened in my life, maybe in the way of communication, maybe in the way of attitude, maybe in the way of this all things. So in MBA, I saw a lot of my own classmates were coming from most rural parts of, especially we have something called as PGCET, where even from we had more of rural students joining, where they didn't even knew how to communicate. They were very weak in a couple of skills. So I thought we could do something, we could do something in that space, or we can help our own friends. So that's how this Edu Prime idea was started. So basically the idea was to make magazines. The first idea what we had was to make general knowledge magazines, college, student magazines, where we put in all the information which is needed for the student so that he can excel in his career. That's what the idea we had. So we even did that, right? So during this process, we did an activity called as I Promise 2014. So Edu Prime India, this was our logo way back in 2014. So basically at that time, we went and met various colleges, almost all the college students we went and met, all the first PU, second PU, then degree students we went and met. So this activity was to motivate them to learn something new. So we went and met and trained almost more than 5,000 students, almost 5,000 students for free. We trained them at that particular point of time. So we were just in our MBA second semester at this point of time. So this experience gave us a really good, foundation, or really it opened our minds, like how even not only our college students, in other colleges also, this couple of problems for students are facing. As students community, these all problems that students are facing is what we understood at that point of time, right? Then and second, then there's a lot of competitions for business plans and all that, right? So this plan we pitched in on FKCCA at that time in 2014. So we were also in top three. We won in top three, the award winners of top three. So this is where we got our seed money as in. So nobody put in any money to our business. So how did we get the money from? So as basically we won 50,000 out of this particular event which we participated. So why I'm telling this part is a lot of people think that money is a concern. You need this much money, you need that much money, you need, 10 lakh, 20 lakh, 50 lakh, 1 crore to start. So I would say it is wrong. So you have to just start, money will follow. So that's how we made our first kind of investment or whatever. So this was FKCCA conducts a competition on business plan called as Manthan. So where they give cash prizes for participants so that they can start their business further. So we won 50,000 rupees there. So which was our initial capital to the business as in concern. So that's how it was started. So why I'm saying this part is, so don't stop, because money should not be a concern. So the only concern is you have to start. You have to start and figure out things, how it's going to work. Then later I was also awarded in a lot of places like Young Entrepreneur, Young Entrepreneur Award was given in my college. And there's one organization in Chennai, they called me and gave me that award called as Young Entrepreneur and all. So at this time we were still in college. This is my fourth semester in college. So this all was happening. Okay, our photos were coming in all the newspapers. It was coming in even some couple of TVs, and all this was happening. So we were still students. Okay, we were not that mature still. Not any revenue model. No, our idea was to only make magazines and sell. That's all. A beautiful magazine and sell. That's all the idea we had. So MBA life was good, quite good. So I could call this award season where we won a lot of awards. We won from Tata for Start. We won from FKCCI. We won from a college. We won from one more organization in Chennai. So all these awards gave us some capital to business. That's for sure. But it also gave us a bit of fame where you carried away by that fame, right? You may think you may do crores of business. You may think you're going to do all that, right? So, but the actual scenario started in September 2014. Actually, that's the time when I passed out of my MBA. So I finished my MBA in September 2014. So MBA was done. So literally done. So I also had an offer with one of Fortune funded companies for 8 lakh at that point of time. So why I'm saying you this was, I already had a job also in hand. So even the HR called me twice and asked, Bharat, do you really don't want to come? Are you sure? That's like, she asked me 2 times. So that was kind of tempting for you to join, but we had to make a hard decision somewhere. So what was there in mind is we were still students kind of. We were not married. We didn't have any responsibility as concerned. All we had is to go out and explore things. So why I'm saying this is, if anybody wants to become an entrepreneur, you should have at least 2 years of time where you're free to explore. You're not bound by any more responsibilities which may pull you down. So that much of time, at least 18 months. So generally they say 18 months is an incubation period. So that much time is needed for a startup to get up and grow. So that much time is very, very important. So why I'm saying this is, that's the time we decided that this much is enough. Let's take a risk. What will happen? Either because I had already failed in life once. So maybe you have already failed. So I've seen failure. So it is not, like fearful. So we knew failure. So I was ready to take a risk. So it's like, we'll do it. We'll see if it wins. If it clicks, it's good. If it doesn't click, we'll all join a job. We have an MBA degree in hand. We'll go to any company. We'll get a job. No need to worry about it. So anybody who wants to become an entrepreneur, if your friends, you want to become an entrepreneur, and if your students want to become an entrepreneur, always they have to be motivated, and they have to be feel that this is not over. In case if they fail, it's not over. Now they're gonna learn something new. So September 2014 was the actual time when we started, really going out and meeting people, really going out and seeing how to, monetize and all that, where we learned a lot of things in 2014. So when any business is concerned, you want to start any business, you need somebody called as a mentor, because we were all freshers, so we don't have any experience as in concerned in business. So you need a mentor in business. So if at all you don't know whom to ask, for example, you don't know, what to do, when to do, whom to talk, or how to approach. You don't know how to finalize your idea, or how to, you have an idea, you don't know how to monetize it and all. So there's somebody, there are people called as mentors, right? So they don't get you on online, so you have to search for them, right? So basically the mentors, so he's a mentor, Dr. M.V. Ravi Kumar. So he's himself an entrepreneur for 35 years plus. So he's also director of a couple of companies as of today. So he was our mentor who helped us to understand how really business works. So why I'm telling you this mentor part is, if you have to start a startup, you should always have a mentor where you can go back and ask, is this correct what you're doing, or is it wrong? Should we change something, or something is happening? So mentor should always be kind of, who should help us to open our mind to see things in a different perspective. Okay, that's the main thing. So there's one part of mentor which I would like to add here. So he's still our mentor today. Then because of few reasons, we changed the name from Edu Prime to Edu Pinnacle, what it is today. So basically we understood we can't sell only magazines. We understood that this is not going to happen, right? So you have to get into a couple of things. So our main vision was to empower people with skills. So what did we do? We just started training on like a lot of skills, right? That's how Edu Pinnacle is what we renamed, like a rebranding we did. Edu Pinnacle Innovating Education since 2014. So that's how we started. So this has been 5 years so far, and we have trained almost more than 20,000 students, which I've already told you. So we train in almost all the areas of technical skills required. In India, almost 75% of students are not employable. That means they don't have skills to get employed. So that's the area where we work on. So we help people to learn, students to learn, technicals like business analytics, data science, big data, Python, R, Tableau, aptitude, advanced Excel, all this pre-placement trainings is what basically we do at Edu Pinnacle. So this is what we do. And if at all you want few things to keep in mind, always solve a problem. Don't build one. Try to solve one which is already there. Be ready to be poor. So don't be greedy for money. So this is all out of pure passion you start. It's not because you all wanted to make money. Money will follow, but it's all you should be ready to be poor. You should be ready to eat bread and butter and survive. If at all you want to become an entrepreneur, you should have that kind of mindset. Then only you can take a risk, right? And do the dirty work yourself. So what I mean by dirty work yourself, in the sense you have to get into the field. you have to get into the customers. So when we started in 2014, we approached more than 200 clients in Bangalore. So most of them sent us away, right? So, but we learned a lot of things at that time. We understood what does a customer want, what does they want, what does they need, what is they're asking for, is what we learned. So you learn only that when you do the dirty work yourself, and you talk to your customers on your own by getting onto the field, which you should never stop. Even till today, I make marketing calls, I make sales calls to understand what does that customer want, what is that, that they're trying to look out for, right? Then you have to always be persistent, you have to be patient, and the passion should always survive. So you have passion, you have patience, but you have to be persistent. So you have to be keep on dedicated in doing something, if at all and every startup needs at least 18 months of time, at least 18 months of time. So if anybody wants to start up, 18 months is what you have to give it completely, your heart and soul into it, to see if it's going to work or not. And definitely, if at all you're fully passionate and dedicated, it will obviously work in one way or other. Next, adaptability. So you have to be ready to adapt. So remember I said we only wanted to sell magazines, right? So we started adapting to the market. We started seeing where opportunities are and where things were going. So you have to be willingness to fail, and learning never ends. So it doesn't mean like you have a product which is selling. It doesn't mean that it's going to sell forever. No, 2 years it may sell. After that, it may not. After that, it may not. So learning never ends. So you should always be open to learning. Have a mentor who's going to guide you for a lot of things. So that is very, very important. Stop giving excuses that I'll do tomorrow, I'll do today, no, next day, I'll do it from next Monday, I'll do it from next Monday. So that next Monday and next will never come. So you should do it now. If at all you want to do something, you have to do it now. Giving excuses, because whatever happens, it is always 100% your responsibility, because we are our own, we make our own destinies, which I've heard from one of my friends. So we become what we do. So you should always focus on that. So you should stop giving excuses. So these are the few things which I feel, which as an entrepreneur, I always keep in mind. So which also motivates me a lot of times, right? So, and one very, very important thing is you should always believe in yourself. You should always believe in yourself, because I told you, I failed in PUC, right? And from there we started, we did all this. I finished my MBA in distinction. Then, I went on doing a course from Indian Institute of Science, which is one of the top in the world, or top one of the universities in the world, where I awarded as outstanding student of that particular batch. Then I went on doing a business analytics course on big data in IIM. So IIM is also one of a very, very reputed college, very reputed institution in the world. So why I'm saying believe in yourself, because that's the best. That's the one best thing what you can do. You should always believe in yourself, what you're trying to do, right? So we were also part of MIT Global Workshop, which happens every year once in one country. So it happened in 2016 in India, and we also got an opportunity to pitch our idea of EduPanacle on the stage, where we can have investors, we can tell them what is our idea is. So we, out of 50 startups, we were also one of the part of startups there. We were pitching the ideas there. So these are the few awards and recognitions what we have got till today. Then from that point of time of being a shy guy from school, I became a bit of caviar guy. That's how I got transformed, physically as and such. So why I'm saying you this point is, if you want to become an entrepreneur, money is never a problem. You should have a mentor, and you should always believe in yourself. That's a thing which is always which is always required, right? And so this picture says a lot of things, like what EduPanacle is there today is only a few, which we have not even reached anywhere. So it's only 20,000 students what we have trained. There is still a lot of way to go. We want to achieve at least 1 million students in next 3 years that we want to train. So we are also starting our own online trainings, where we want to reach all over India in next 1.5 year. Then after that, we want to go global, where we can even train students out of country in all these technical skills, because we believe that wherever it is knowledge. So you can always share. So 2 pictures, 1 message out of this. So this was my small story which we had faced across, where I have learned a lot of things. And as of today, company is doing well, and everything is fine. And we are in a growth stage where we are growing, and The picture says everything of what all we have gone through, and there will be days where which will put you down. So days were there for us also to put us down. So when money was not there, a lot of times even I've thought, I'll go to blood bank, give blood, at least take that money for that day's petrol or that day's food. So even those days we have seen, where we started Edupanakil. Once we had all this funding money, somebody cheated us, we lost all the money, and all that we had was only 240 rupees. Only 240 rupees. So we started Edupanakil with 240 rupees after losing all the money what we had. So the last thing what I would say is, this was the best thing happened in my life, which we are trying to do as daily. And the best thing one day what happened, I was just going in New Bale Road to meet one of my friend. So somebody came in a car, he stopped me, and he wanted to talk. He just horned and I just stopped. And I see it's one of my old student whom we had trained 2 years back. So he said, "Sir, thank you so much for teaching this. Because of this, I've got a job, and I've now I've got also married last month. So thank you so much for teaching that." So I felt a sense of satisfaction of starting all this, where it is helping people. It is really making some changes, really making some impact. So that's what keeps you going. So always follow your passion. That's very, very important. And always there will be downs. So when there's a down, think it as like, it's something is pulling you down to push you up very fast. So on this note, I would like to thank you, all of you, for joining in. So if there's any question, I would really take it up. So if you want to ask anything one-on-one, if at all there's anything you want to ask, and any questions, any point you want me to address, please to ask. So I'd be happy to address, or else we'll close the session. If there's any question anybody wants to ask, please ask.